everybody. I will talk to you on an issue which perhaps fascinates most of you, but one little understands of how this all goes about. Surrogacy, to start with, is well known in Indian mythology, and down the history you will find that Yashoda played mother to Krishna, even though Devaki and Vasudeva were naturally born parents. Likewise, Dhritarashtra had 100 children through Gandhari, even though there was no biological link. But all that is history. Where are we today? Gender selection, cosmetic babies, 3-parent fathers, freezing of embryos, trait selection. Where is science taking us? We have walked miles ahead. But in the backdrop of India, we have seen the advent of surrogacy in a short span of time of about 15 years, and it has grown into a global industry. Some interesting anecdotes and some fascinating cases which have taken place in the country. The first one, baby Manji Amda, born in the state of Gujarat in 2008, to a Japanese couple who used the services of a surrogate mother in Ahmedabad. But sadly, when the baby was born, parents divorced and the mother did not want the baby. So the poor father had to fly in his mother, Miko Yamada, from Japan, and through a petition in the Supreme Court, take the baby out with an identity certificate, because there was no provision for single parent surrogacy. But that was the first case where single parent surrogacy got identified. In the next instance, we saw Israeli gay couples coming to Mumbai. Jonathan and Omar Gher came to Bandra, got a surrogate, went back happily with the child. But for the second case, it was not a happy situation. The couple had to seek the help of the Israeli parliament. Jonathan Gher's case made no difference to them. And the second couple sought the help of the Jerusalem family court, and it took them 2 years to take their babies out. Then we see the next case of the John Balaz babies. Now this was a German couple who used the services of a surrogate mother, again in the state of Gujarat. But the Gujarat authorities gave them a birth certificate which named the gestational mother as the natural mother of the children. Now this created a lot of complications, and the Gujarat High Court verdict declared this was the right course of action. The government of India was very unhappy with the situation. They said we cannot allow this. So the matter was challenged and appealed before the Supreme Court of India. And the appeal is still pending, and issues of parentage and surrogacy are alive on these. But what happens to the babies? They were rendered stateless because the German government said we do not recognize surrogacy. The Indian government did not give them any birth certificates. So the Supreme Court intervened again, asked the Central Adoption and Resource Agency under the Ministry of Women and Child Development to permit adoption of these children by the parents who were naturally born with them, but through a surrogate mother, and the children were shipped out of the country. Then the fourth case, the most interesting one. This is about a lady, Pearl Linda, coming from the US, married to a Jamaican national, Eric Dalton. Now, Eric has aerophobia. He can't fly. So Eric's sperm is brought in a cryogenic jar, and she comes to Hyderabad. She gets a novum donor, she gets a surrogate mother, and baby emperor is born. Now when she goes to the regional passport office, Mr. Srikanth Reddy, the passport officer, says, please get me a DNA test. How do I know Eric is the father? So she keeps trying to negotiate with him, but as the Indian process is, the man refuses. So one fine morning, she leaves the baby on his table and says, it's yours. So poor Mr. Reddy had to hurriedly give her an exit certificate, and she left the country. But this is not the solution. Where are we today? India surreptitiously has slipped into a reproductive tourism industry worth 25,000 crores. 2 lakh clinics all over the country. And medical tourism is now a big business. But before we go further, rationalists argue on ethical grounds, moral grounds, on religious grounds. And there are various viewpoints, perceptions. But the Indian Council for Medical Research, in its guidelines of 2005, actually allowed this to happen, resulting in a bill in 2008, the Artificial Reproductive Technology Regulation Bill, followed by another bill in 2010, followed by another bill in 2013. And slowly, it became wider and wider. But all of a sudden, there was a clampdown in 2012, and the Ministry of Home Affairs said, we are only going to allow married men and women with 2 years of marriage on a medical visa to come to India for surrogacy. I question these guidelines on the behalf of a single parent from Sudan, but the government of India was in a flux, nothing got decided. The court could not take a decision. But all of a sudden, the government went to do a hurdle backwards. And a revised bill is said to be up before Parliament. When I published my last book, the bill was on, so we put the bill in the book as well. I reacted to the bill with comments and issues. But while the bill is still pending, by a 4-line order, the government has decided that they will ban surrogacy for foreigners totally. So surrogacy is now, as of now, today, restricted only to Indian infertile couples. That's a full stop for the time being. Now this takes us to the next question of the financial aspect. How do we gain if we have surrogacy? And what happens if we ban surrogacy? Now let's look at having surrogacy on. Now, a surrogacy which costs $1 lakh in the US can be done for $10,000 in India. Now, India is a country with 1.2 billion Indians. 1,75,000 people in India need a kidney. 50 lakh people need a heart. 50 lakh people need a liver. 1,40,000 people die in India for want of a kidney because the Transplantation of Human Organs Act 1984 makes it very, very difficult to get an organ. So in this scenario, in this backdrop, if we were to regulate commercial surrogacy, if we were to put it in a box, don't shut the door but regulate the entry into the door, gainers, women who are surrogates. There are a lot of women all over the world, all over India, who would be very happy to rent their home for reasons of buying a better home for their children, for their families. It helps people. It is according to them a legitimate way of making money because it buys comfort for the family. It's good for doctors because they make money. It's good for a host of other people who are well connected with this tourism industry in being service providers of various issues, lawyers, stakeholders, travel agents and whatnots. It brings money and it's big money. It's tourism, though medical tourism. So if the government were to think legitimately, there would be a lot of remittance of foreign exchange. You can have a watchdog, you can have an ombudsman who can regulate it. Let not there be underhand deals. Let there be a fixed way of bringing in the money. The government will earn revenue, taxation. There will be inflow, there will be gains, and everybody will be in a happy situation. Now, the law, the bill, as of now, the Artificial Reproductive Technology Bill 2014, it provides safeguard for surrogate mothers. There should be a contract, payment should be regulated, it should be done through a bank, there should be medical insurance, the surrogate will have no rights on the child, etc., etc. All this is there in the bill, but the bill is still before Parliament and it has not really come to any end or conclusion as of now. The next question, what happens if we ban surrogacy? In my personal view, the market will go underground. It will keep on happening. You cannot stop it. We did it. Everything shifted to Nepal. A lot of Indian women pregnant with surrogate babies were posted in Nepal. And then came the earthquake. And I wrote a piece, Earthquake Rocks Surrogacy. And then Nepal Supreme Court shut it down as well. The new destinations are Mexico. It is going to happen anyway. So, closing the door, in my view, would not help. and financially there will be losers. Let us not forget, we are a nation with a vibrant constitution. Our last call is the Supreme Court, the harbinger and the guardian of rights. We have Article 14, equality of law and equal protection of laws. We have Article 21, right to life and personal liberty. These two rights are available to persons. Article 19, fundamental freedoms are available to citizens. So a foreigner is a person. So a foreigner can very well walk up and say, I have a right of reproductive autonomy, which is part of my right to life. You are allowing adoptions to single persons. You are allowing single parents to become parents to children by adoption, irrespective of marital status, under the Juvenile Justice Adoption and Care of Children Act, now amended in 2015. So you have one hand allowing adoption of children to single parents, and on the other hand you are banning surrogacy for foreigners altogether. We are not in tandem. There is no synchrony. So this is a big amiss. Second, the Supreme Court in 4 very well reported decisions has given a very vibrant interpretation of rights. The latest one being ABC. This is the first time the Supreme Court has used a pseudonym. This is the case of a single unwed mother who claimed a right of custody to the child without being forced to disclose the name of the parent. And the Supreme Court has given this right in general to everybody. It's a very, very important decision in Indian history. The second, the case of Stephanie Joan Becker, a 53-year-old American lady who was a single parent who adopted a 10-year-old child against the CARA rigors. The Supreme Court approved of the adoption and said it's a blend, it's a bonding. The child gets a home and the lady was allowed to leave the country. The third, the decision of the Supreme Court in National Legal Services Authority recognizing transgenders as the third right. Supreme Court says in that decision, your sexual orientation, your gender should be not violated. You have a right of equality, and that right of equality is available to you irrespective of wherever you are. And then the fourth decision is in Shabnam Hashmi, where the Supreme Court has said that every person has a right to adopt and a right to be adopted, irrespective of the religion you profess. So the bar of Muslim religion, they said, would not come in your way if you wish to adopt or be adopted. Now, in this backdrop of such a vibrant, open interpretation of rights, particularly ones concerned with parentage, ones concerned with care, protection of children, why should we have a stance in surrogacy which goes the other way? This is a question I ask myself and keep asking. The bottom line, what do? India having kindled the fire of commercial surrogacy. Now, let me tell you in all fairness, we are the only country in the world which professes commercial surrogacy, which had till 4th of November, professed commercial surrogacy openly. Now, having gone so far, we cannot take surrogacy off the shelf like a commodity and say it's over. It can't be done. It's not possible. What is the proper way? What is the legitimate way? Let us regulate it. We go back to adoptions. In 1993, adoption of Indian children by foreign nationals was a very big issue. So the government of India, through 3 successive decisions in Lakshmikant Pandey 1, 2 and 3, created an authority called as Central Adoption Resource Agency, CARA. CARA today is a statutory body. CARA regulates adoptions for children to foreign countries through checks, balances, reports, studies, etc., etc., etc. So why not have CARA for surrogacy? Why don't we do that? Why can't we regulate the check? Let's put a whole thing under a scanner. Let's have a code of surrogacy. Let's have checks. Let's have balances. Let's have regulations. So friends, this is something we should ponder over. The world is moving. I have attended 2 meetings in Netherlands. The Hague Project on Private International Law is seriously looking at parentage and custody issues of children born out of surrogacy arrangements. They've had 3 meetings. The next one is again next year. And studies are on. Maybe in another 10 years, we may be looking at international surrogacy legalized. Thank you very much.